guys. Tonight, we're stepping into the quiet, fluorescent-lit aisles of 2011, where a simple trip to buy razors could bankrupt your weekend plans. Drop your city and local time in the comments. It's always fascinating to see who's tuning in from around the world. Now dim the lights, maybe light a candle for that gentle glow, and let's walk together into the moment when one man's frustration with overpriced razors would topple a century-old empire. You're standing in a CVS at 2 a.m, staring at a razor display case that's locked like it contains nuclear launch codes. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead with that familiar corporate hum. Listen to that electric whisper of late-night desperation. Your current razor died 3 days ago, and you've been walking around looking like you're cosplaying as a sea captain who lost a fight with a hedge trimmer. The stubble itches like regret mixed with poor life choices. Behind the glass, Gillette's Fusion Pro Glide sits there smugly. Priced at $47 for a 4-pack of replacement blades. $47. You calculate quickly. That's more than your Netflix, Spotify and that gym membership you never use combined. The security tag gleams mockingly, as if to say, yes, people steal these, because they cost more than most people's hourly wage. You press the red button for assistance, and somewhere in the distance, a cashier sighs like they're being asked to donate a kidney. The walk of shame begins. You, a grown adult, waiting for permission to purchase the right to have a smooth face. It's like asking your mum for lunch money, except your mum is a teenage CVS employee named Tyler, who clearly has better things to do than unlock the razor Fort Knox. Meanwhile, in Venice Beach, California, a man named Michael Dubin is having the exact same experience, except he's about to do something that will make Gillette executives wake up in cold sweats for the next decade. You don't know it yet, but you're witnessing the final moments of an empire built on the simple premise that men will pay anything to avoid looking like cavemen. The cashier finally arrives, moving with the enthusiasm of someone heading to their own execution. They unlock the case with a key that looks like it could start a Boeing 747, grab your overpriced metal strips, and escort you to the register like you're a flight risk. Congratulations, you've just participated in the most elaborate retail theatre performance outside of buying a mattress. But here's what you don't see coming. In less than 2 years, a single YouTube video will make this entire humiliating ritual as obsolete as asking for directions. The revolution starts with one simple question. What if buying razors didn't require a small personal loan? You swipe your card, wince at the total, and walk out into the night, completely unaware that the shaving industry is about to get disrupted by a guy who looks like he should be selling you artisanal coffee instead of razors. The Gillette monopoly has ruled for over a century, but empires built on customer frustration have a funny way of crumbling faster than a stale cookie. The stage is set, the players are in position, and somewhere in California, a marketing genius is about to prove that sometimes the best way to beat your competition isn't to make a better product. It's to make your customers laugh while they buy yours. You're Michael Dubin, and it's January 2011. You're sitting in your cramped Venice Beach apartment, staring at a razor bill that looks like it was calculated by someone who thinks money grows on organic free-range trees. The math is brutal. You're spending more on facial hair management than most people spend on actual food. Your bathroom cabinet looks like a pharmacy for people who've given up on life. Expired razors, rusty blades, and the kind of shaving cream that promises comfort but delivers something closer to industrial-grade sandpaper mixed with false hope. The morning routine has become a negotiation with bankruptcy. You hold up a blade that's duller than a butter knife at a vegan restaurant, examining it like an archaeologist studying ancient torture devices. 3 weeks past its prime, this razor has less cutting power than a strongly worded email. But replacement cartridges cost more than your monthly coffee budget, so you press on, scraping your face with the determination of someone trying to start a fire with wet matches. Your startup buddy Mark Levine calls you up. He's got this idea. What if there was a way to get decent razors without selling a kidney? He runs a razor manufacturing company, the kind of behind-the-scenes operation that makes blades for everyone except the companies whose names you actually recognize. Mike, he says, what if we could ship razors directly to people for a fraction of what they're paying in stores? You pause your morning face-scraping ritual. The concept hits you like a revelation wrapped in common sense. Why hasn't anyone thought of cutting out the middleman? The entire razor industry is built like a medieval toll road, where every step from factory to face adds another layer of markup. Gillette spends billions on advertising, fancy packaging, and those ridiculous locked display cases that make buying razors feel like negotiating with international arms dealers. The light bulb moment arrives with the subtlety of a freight train filled with obvious solutions. You're not just looking at a business opportunity. You're staring at the chance to become the guy who liberates bathroom cabinets across America. The subscription model makes perfect sense. People need razors regularly, predictably, like clockwork. It's not rocket science. It's basic human maintenance with better logistics. Listen to the gentle scratch of pen on paper as ideas flow. You start sketching out the concept on a napkin, because every great disruption apparently begins with inadequate writing surfaces. The plan is elegantly simple. Quality razors, reasonable prices delivered to your door without the retail theatre and security protocols. But here's the challenge. How do you convince people to trust a company they've never heard of with something as personal as their daily shave? Gillette has brand recognition older than your grandfather. They've got Super Bowl commercials, celebrity endorsements, and the kind of marketing budget that could fund a small nation's space program. You realise that beating Gillette at their own game would be like challenging Marvel to a superhero movie. Expensive, pointless, and likely to end in humiliation. But what if you didn't play their game at all? What if instead of trying to out-serious them, you made the whole thing fun? Congratulations. You've just invented the strategy that will make corporate executives everywhere question their 7-figure marketing degrees. The seed is planted, but seeds don't become revolutions overnight. They need the right conditions, the perfect moment, and someone crazy enough to water them with equal parts ambition and complete disregard for conventional wisdom. You're Michael Dubin, and it's March 2012. You're standing in your warehouse, and I use the term warehouse generously because it's basically a converted garage that smells like cardboard dreams and startup desperation. Your entire inventory could fit in a Honda Civic, your budget is tighter than skinny jeans on a linebacker, and you're about to make a video that will either launch your company into orbit or become the most expensive home movie in internet history. The traditional marketing playbook says you need focus groups, market research, and commercials featuring slow-motion shots of water droplets caressing impossibly smooth faces. You've got none of that. What you do have is a $4,500 budget, a borrowed camera, and the kind of reckless confidence that comes from having absolutely nothing to lose except your dignity and your life savings. You're not just making a commercial, you're creating a manifesto against everything the shaving industry has become. For decades, razor ads have followed the same formula. Serious-faced men in marble bathrooms, dramatic orchestral music, and taglines that make shaving sound like preparing for gladiatorial combat. It's all very masculine, very earnest, and very, very boring. Your approach is different. You're going to talk to your customers like they're actual human beings instead of walking ATMs with facial hair. The script you've written doesn't mention precision-engineered German steel or 5-blade comfort technology. Instead, it acknowledges the obvious truth that everyone knows but nobody says. Buying razors has become ridiculously expensive and unnecessarily complicated. Listen to the gentle whir of the camera warming up. You're about to deliver lines that will make marketing executives across America simultaneously laugh and update their resumes. Are you tired of spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 1980 was a great year. Do you know what happened that year? The Miracle on Ice, The Empire Strikes Back, and The Pac-Man. And also, that's about the last time anyone paid $20 for a pack of razors and thought they were getting a good deal. The genius isn't just in what you're saying, it's in how you're saying it. You're casual, conversational, like you're talking to a friend over coffee, rather than delivering a corporate presentation. You're wearing a t-shirt in a world of three-piece suits. You're making jokes in an industry that takes itself more seriously than brain surgery. But the real masterstroke comes when you acknowledge your own company's limitations with refreshing honesty. Are our blades any good? No, our blades are fucking great. It's profanity as punctuation, humour as strategy. You're not trying to convince anyone that your razors will change their life. You're just promising they'll do the job without requiring a second mortgage. The warehouse around you tells its own story. This isn't shot in some gleaming corporate facility. It's clearly a startup operation run by people who measure success in customer satisfaction, rather than quarterly earnings reports. The authenticity is palpable, like the smell of honest work mixed with entrepreneurial anxiety. You're about to upload a video that costs less than most companies spend on catering for a single marketing meeting, but it's going to compete directly with commercials that cost more than most people's annual salary. Congratulations, you've just weaponized relatability against corporate pretension. The upload button hovers under your cursor like a digital dice roll. In the next 24 hours, this video will either disappear into the internet's vast graveyard of forgotten content, or it will become the shot heard around the corporate world. You're sitting at your computer at 3:47 a.m. on March 7th, 2012, refreshing YouTube analytics like you're checking lottery numbers that could change your entire life. The Dollar Shave Club video has been live for exactly 6 hours, and the view counter is climbing faster than your anxiety levels. 10,000 views, 50,000 views, 100,000 views. The numbers blur together like a slot machine that's forgotten how to stop. Your phone buzzes with the persistence of a caffeinated mosquito. Text messages pour in from friends, family, and complete strangers who somehow got your number. Dude, are you seeing this? Holy shit, Mike. You broke the internet. The notifications sound like a digital slot machine hitting jackpot after jackpot, except instead of coins, it's dispensing viral fame and existential terror in equal measure. Listen to the gentle ping of notifications arriving like digital raindrops on your consciousness. Each alert represents someone new discovering your deliberately ridiculous take on razor commercials. The comments section has become a battlefield between people who can't believe someone finally said what. They were all thinking and Gillette loyalists who are defending their overpriced blades with the intensity of sports fans, arguing about referee calls. Finally, someone who gets it, writes user Blade Runner 2012. I've been saying this for years. Razors shouldn't cost more than my car payment. Another comment. This guy just roasted an entire industry in under 2 minutes. Respect. But mixed in with the praise are the skeptics. This is probably some cheap Chinese garbage, and you get what you pay for with razors. The viral mechanics are pure internet poetry. People aren't just watching, they're sharing, commenting, and creating their own content in response. Someone's already made a remix, another person created a reaction video, a third person started a Twitter thread analysing why the video works so well. You've accidentally become the protagonist in everyone else's social media story. Meanwhile, in corporate boardrooms across America, executives are having emergency meetings that taste like panic mixed with expensive coffee. Gillette's marketing team is probably staring at their latest $10 million Super Bowl commercial and wondering how a guy in a t-shirt just made them look like out-of-touch dinosaurs selling overpriced metal strips. The business implications hit you like a freight train made of pure opportunity. Your servers are crashing under the weight of new customers trying to sign up. The subscription orders are pouring in faster than you can process them. You've gone from selling a few dozen subscriptions a day to hundreds, then thousands. Your modest inventory projections are about as useful as a chocolate teapot. But here's the beautiful irony. While Gillette spends millions trying to convince people their razors are worth premium prices, you just proved that honesty, humour, and reasonable pricing can create more brand loyalty in 24 hours than their entire marketing department achieves in a quarter. You refresh the analytics one more time. 500,000 views and climbing. Congratulations, you've just demonstrated that sometimes the best way to disrupt an industry isn't with better technology or more money. Sometimes you just need to point out that the emperor has no clothes, and his razor costs $47. You wake up to your phone vibrating like an angry bee trapped in a coffee can. It's been exactly 48 hours since you uploaded the video, and your brain feels like it's been put through a blender made of adrenaline and sleep deprivation. The view count has exploded past 4 million, but that's not even the crazy part. The crazy part is your inbox, which looks like it was hit by a tornado, made of money and business opportunities. Venture capital firms are emailing you with the desperate enthusiasm of people who just realized they missed Bitcoin at $100. Michael, we'd love to discuss investment opportunities. Your vision for disrupting traditional retail models aligns with our portfolio strategy. Translation, holy shit, we want in, before this rocket ship leaves the atmosphere. The same investors who probably wouldn't return your calls last month are now competing to throw money at you like you're a financial piñata. Your warehouse, your fulfillment center, has transformed into something that resembles a crisis management headquarters crossed with a very successful lemonade stand. Boxes are stacked to the ceiling. Employees you hired yesterday are learning on the job, and everyone's moving with the frantic energy of people who've accidentally started a revolution and aren't quite sure how to manage it. Listen to the constant rustle of packing tape and cardboard as orders ship out in real time. The sound of success, apparently, is a lot like Christmas morning in an Amazon warehouse, except everyone's caffeinated and slightly terrified. The subscription numbers are beyond anything you projected in your most optimistic fever dreams. You've gone from a few hundred customers to over 90,000 subscribers in less than a week. Each new sign-up represents someone who watched your video and decided to break up with Gillette. A relationship that, for many customers, has lasted longer than most marriages. You're essentially running a support group for people recovering from overpriced razor addiction. But the real validation comes from the industry's response. Gillette, the company that's dominated men's grooming for over a century, is suddenly running damage control ads. They're emphasizing their premium quality and innovative technology, with the desperation of someone explaining why their luxury car is worth it while watching everyone switch to ride-sharing. When a 100-year-old company starts feeling defensive, you know you've touched a nerve. The media coverage reads like a business school case study in real time. Startup disrupts century-old industry with single video. How Dollar Shave Club beat Gillette at their own game. The $4,500 commercial that changed everything. You're being interviewed by reporters who want to understand how you managed to make corporate executives everywhere question their MBA degrees. Your personal life has become surreal. You can't go to a coffee shop without someone recognizing you as the razor guy. Friends from college are reaching out with congratulations mixed with thinly veiled requests for investment advice. Your mother is simultaneously proud and confused about why her son became internet famous for talking about facial hair maintenance. The valuation estimates start floating around, $26 million, based on subscriber growth, market disruption potential, and the kind of mathematical wizardry that makes venture capitalists salivate. Congratulations. You've just learned that sometimes the most valuable thing you can offer customers isn't a better product, but a better experience and a fair price. But success at this scale comes with its own set of problems, and you're about to discover that going viral is just the beginning of the story. You're standing in what used to be your warehouse and now resembles the aftermath of an explosion at a shipping company. Orders are pouring in faster than your wildest projections, and your fulfillment operation is about as prepared for this volume as a food truck is for feeding a music festival. The same viral success that made you internet famous is now threatening to crush your business under its own weight. Your customer service phone is ringing with the persistence of a smoke detector with a dying battery. Customers who signed up based on your promise of hassle-free razor delivery are discovering that hassle-free doesn't necessarily mean instantly materialized in your bathroom. Some orders are delayed, others are missing items, and a few unfortunate souls receive boxes containing everything except razors. Congratulations! You've learned that scaling a business is like trying to change a tire while the car is still moving at highway speed. The supply chain reality hits you like an economics textbook thrown by an angry professor. Those manufacturers who were happy to work with you when you needed 1,000 razors a month are suddenly panicking when you need 100,000. Lead times that seemed reasonable for a small startup become catastrophic bottlenecks when you're trying to serve an army of newly converted customers who expect their razors to arrive with Amazon-level efficiency. Listen to the constant symphony of printer paper and phone calls as your team tries to manage controlled chaos. Your employees are working with the dedication of people who've accidentally joined a startup rocket ship and aren't quite sure if they're heading to the moon or crashing into the ocean, but they're committed to finding out. The quality control challenges multiply like rabbits in a statistics problem. When you're shipping dozens of packages a day, you can personally check every box. When you're shipping thousands, you need systems, processes, and the kind of operational discipline that most companies spend years developing. Some customers are receiving razors that work perfectly. Others are getting blades that couldn't cut warm butter if their lives depended on it. Your competitors aren't sitting idle either. Gillette has launched their own subscription service, complete with the kind of marketing budget that could fund a small country's defense spending. They're offering discounts, improved packaging, and all the corporate resources that come with being a subsidiary of Procter & Gamble. It's like watching David realize that Goliath has friends, lawyers, and a really good health insurance plan. The financial pressure is becoming surreal. You're simultaneously cash-rich from new subscriptions and cash-poor from the massive operational expansion needed to serve those customers. Every day brings new expenses, more warehouse space, additional staff, upgraded systems, legal fees, and the kind of business insurance that covers acts of viral marketing. Your accountant looks at your books with the expression of someone trying to solve a Rubik's Cube while blindfolded. But here's the beautiful irony. Your customers are incredibly patient and understanding because they remember what it was like to pay $47 for razor cartridges. Even when deliveries are late or orders are mixed up, most people are just grateful to be part of something that feels different from the corporate razor industrial complex they escaped from. You realize that building a company is like performing surgery while learning anatomy. Every mistake is visible, every success builds confidence, and there's no instruction manual for what happens when your small experiment accidentally becomes a movement. The growing pains are real, but so is the revolution you've started. You're in Gillette's Boston headquarters, and it's April 2012. The mahogany boardroom table gleams under fluorescent lights that cost more than most people's monthly salaries, but the mood is about as cheerful as a tax audit performed by people who hate their jobs. The Dollar Shave Club video is playing on the massive conference room screen for the 15th time this week, and every viewing feels like watching your empire get roasted by a guy who looks like he should be serving artisanal coffee instead of threatening your century-old monopoly. The PowerPoint presentation on the screen reads Competitive Response Strategy, but it might as well say, how did we let this happen? The numbers are brutal. Dollar Shave Club has gained 90,000 subscribers in less than a month, while Gillette's market research shows their brand perception among millennials has dropped faster than a dropped phone with a cracked screen. Young men are literally laughing at commercials that cost more to produce than most independent films. Listen to the gentle hum of executive anxiety mixed with climate-controlled air conditioning. The executives around the table are experiencing something they haven't felt in decades: genuine competition that doesn't play by their rules. For years, the razor industry has been a gentleman's agreement between a few major players who competed on features and marketing budgets, not on actually giving customers a fair deal. Your head of marketing clears his throat with the confidence of someone about to suggest using a water gun to fight a forest fire. We could launch our own subscription service, he offers, followed by the kind of silence that usually precedes layoffs. The problem isn't just that Dollar Shave Club thought of subscriptions first, it's that they've made Gillette look like the out-of-touch corporate villain in their own industry. The brand positioning challenge is existential. How do you respond to someone who's essentially calling your business model a scam without admitting they might have a point? Gillette's entire value proposition is built on premium pricing justified by incremental improvements. 5 blades instead of 4, moisturizing strips, handles with more engineering than most kitchen appliances. But Dollar Shave Club just proved that most customers don't care about blade precision when they're paying convenience store prices for prescription drug costs. The legal team presents their analysis with the enthusiasm of people delivering terminal diagnosis results. There's no intellectual property violation, no trademark infringement, no regulatory loopholes to exploit. Dollar Shave Club is beating you fair and square by offering customers what they actually want instead of what focus groups said they should want. It's like losing a chess game to someone who's playing checkers and somehow winning anyway. Your market research department delivers the data that feels like a punch to the corporate solar plexus. Brand loyalty among men under 35 is eroding faster than a sandcastle at high tide. The same customers who used to upgrade from Mach 3 to Fusion to ProGlide are now cancelling their Gillette relationship status and swiping right on subscription services. Congratulations. You've just discovered that customer loyalty built on lack of alternatives disappears quickly when alternatives arrive. The strategic options are all variations of expensive and uncertain. You could launch a price war, but that means admitting your margins were unnecessarily high all along. You could acquire Dollar Shave Club, but that sends the message that innovation comes from outside your company. You could double down on premium positioning, but that risks looking even more out of touch. You're experiencing the corporate equivalent of being disrupted by someone you're sitting in Gillette's crisis management room, and the air tastes like expensive coffee mixed with existential dread. The mahogany table reflects the glow of laptops displaying Dollar Shave Club subscriber numbers, which are climbing faster than your blood pressure. Every executive around the table looks like they've been asked to explain quantum physics, using only interpretive dance and corporate buzzwords. The head of consumer insights clears her throat with the confidence of someone about to deliver a weather report during a hurricane. Our focus group data shows that men aged 18 to 34 are experiencing brand fatigue with traditional razor messaging, translation. Your customers think you're full of shit, and they're not being polite about it anymore. The PowerPoint slide shows a word cloud where overpriced, complicated, and scam appear larger than your actual product benefits. Listen to the gentle tap of nervous fingers against smartphone screens as executives refresh social media metrics. Twitter is having a field day with hashtag Gillette prices, and TikTok creators are making videos comparing razor costs to rent payments. Your brand has become a meme, and not the good kind. The kind where people use you as an example of everything wrong with corporate America. The marketing director presents his counterattack strategy with the enthusiasm of someone suggesting they fight a wildfire with a garden hose. We could emphasize our research and development costs, our blade precision technology, our ergonomic handles. He trails off as everyone realizes he's essentially arguing that customers should pay premium prices for features they never asked for. It's like trying to sell someone a $500 hammer because it has Bluetooth connectivity. Your brand manager looks at the Dollar Shave Club analytics with the expression of someone watching their house burn down in real time. They're not just stealing market share, she says. They're rewriting the entire conversation about what razors should cost. The subscription model isn't just convenient. It's making Gillette look like digital dinosaurs who never learned how the internet works. The legal team presents their findings with all the optimism of people delivering a terminal diagnosis. There's no patent infringement, no trademark violation, no regulatory angle to exploit. Dollar Shave Club is beating you fair and square by offering customers what they actually want. Decent razors at reasonable prices without the retail theatre. Congratulations. You've discovered that innovation sometimes means simplifying instead of complicating. The financial projections look like a horror movie written by accountants. If the current trend continues, you're looking at a 15% market share loss within 2 years, declining margins, and the kind of quarterly earnings calls where executives use phrases like challenging market conditions and strategic repositioning initiatives. Your century-old monopoly is evaporating faster than morning dew in a desert. But here's the beautiful irony. While you're having emergency meetings about how to respond to a subscription razor service, your customers are already voting with their wallets. They're not waiting for your strategic response. They're just happy someone finally offered them a better deal. The revolution isn't coming. It's already here, and it's being delivered directly to bathroom cabinets across America. You're Gillette's chief marketing officer, and you're standing in a conference room that costs more per square foot than most people's apartments, trying to figure out how to make a century-old razor company seem as relatable as a guy in a t-shirt talking about facial hair. The whiteboard is covered with phrases like authentic engagement, viral potential, and millennial value proposition. Corporate speak for how do we copy what that startup did without looking desperate. Your digital team presents their analysis of the Dollar Shave Club video with the clinical precision of surgeons examining a patient they couldn't save. The key elements appear to be humour, direct address, cost transparency, and authentic founder personality, they report. As if they're describing the ingredients in a recipe, they're not quite sure how to cook. The problem isn't understanding what worked. It's that authenticity can't be manufactured in boardrooms where every joke gets focus grouped and every spontaneous moment gets scripted by committee. Listen to the soft shuffle of printed presentations being distributed around polished conference tables. The proposed response campaign includes a series of videos featuring real customers discussing their shaving experiences, except the customers are paid actors, and their experiences are written by copywriters who've never used a razor that wasn't provided by the props department. It's authenticity theatre, performed by people who learned spontaneity from PowerPoint slides. The creative director presents concept boards with the excitement of someone unveiling a revolutionary invention that looks suspiciously like everything else in the marketplace. We'll position ourselves as the premium choice for discerning men who value quality, he explains, apparently unaware that this is exactly the message that made customers run away in the first place. It's like responding to someone complaining about your expensive restaurant by explaining why your food costs more, instead of asking if they're actually hungry. Your social media manager suggests launching a subscription service, with the enthusiasm of someone recommending they paint racing stripes on a horse to make it competitive with sports cars. The proposed Gillette Direct service promises convenience and competitive pricing, but it's built on the same cost structure that made your razors expensive in the first place. You're essentially offering customers a discount on prices that were inflated to begin with. A sale that makes everyone wonder why you weren't charging fair prices all along. The brand positioning challenge becomes existential when you realize that responding to Dollar Shave Club requires admitting they have a point. How do you launch a competitive subscription service without acknowledging that your retail pricing was unnecessarily high? How do you emphasize value without admitting you weren't providing it before? Congratulations! You've discovered that defending a monopoly becomes impossible once customers realize they were being overcharged. The generational divide in your customer base becomes painfully obvious when focus group data shows that men over 45 still associate higher prices with better quality, while men under 35 associate higher prices with being taken advantage of. You're essentially trying to serve two different markets with completely opposite expectations about fairness, value, and corporate behavior. The timeline for launching your response feels like planning a wedding during an earthquake. Every decision requires approvals from teams who need approvals from other teams, while your competitor moves at startup speed with decisions made by people who actually use their own products. By the time your subscription service launches, Dollar Shave Club will have evolved 3 times and gained another 1 million customers. You're experiencing the corporate equivalent of watching someone beat you at chess while you're still reading the instruction manual. You're Michael Dubin, and it's 2014. Your company has gone from a guy in a warehouse to $1 billion valuation faster than most people change their razor blades. The same subscription service that started as a solution to overpriced drugstore razors has become the kind of business success story that makes venture capitalists wake up in cold sweats, wondering what other obvious ideas they've missed. Your customer base has grown to 3.2 million subscribers, and each new customer represents someone who's permanently broken up with Gillette. The acquisition rumours started circulating like gossip at a high school reunion. Persistent, speculative, and impossible to ignore. Every major consumer goods company with a shaving division is reportedly exploring strategic opportunities in the direct-to-consumer space, which is corporate speak for, holy shit, we need to buy something before our shareholders realize we missed the entire digital revolution. Your phone rings constantly with calls from investment bankers who speak in the kind of hushed, reverent tones usually reserved for discussing rare art or expensive wines. Listen to the gentle hum of servers processing thousands of subscription orders in real time. Your fulfillment center has evolved from a converted garage into a sophisticated operation that ships razors with the efficiency of Amazon and the personality of your original video. The walls are covered with customer testimonials that read like love letters to affordable grooming, and the employee break room has a framed screenshot of your first viral video alongside current shipping statistics that would make logistics executives weep with envy. The irony isn't lost on you that the same companies who ignored subscription commerce for decades are now desperate to acquire someone who succeeded by doing exactly what they could have done years earlier. Procter & Gamble, the parent company of Gillette, is reportedly interested in buying the company that's been systematically dismantling their most profitable division. It's like watching someone offer to buy the rock that David used to slay Goliath. Your board meetings have transformed from startup survival sessions into discussions about legacy, market positioning, and the kind of strategic decisions that business schools will analyze for decades. The subscription model you pioneered isn't just a clever workaround for expensive retail markup. It's fundamentally changed how consumers think about recurring purchases, customer relationships, and brand loyalty. You've accidentally become a case study in digital disruption. The acquisition interest validates everything you suspected about the traditional razor industry, that the high prices weren't justified by high costs, but by lack of competition and customer alternatives. When companies are willing to pay billions for your customer list, it suggests they know their own customers were never particularly loyal, just trapped by inconvenience and limited options. The meetings with potential acquirers feel surreal, like being courted by the same people who wouldn't return your calls when you were trying to compete with their products. The executives who once dismissed direct-to-consumer commerce as a niche market are now explaining why your company represents the future of consumer goods. Congratulations, you've reached the point where your former competitors want to pay you billions to stop being better than them. But the real question isn't whether someone will acquire Dollar Shave Club. It's whether being acquired will kill the very thing that made the company successful in the first place. You're sitting in the boardroom of Unilever's New York headquarters, and the atmosphere feels like a first date between people who've been enemies on dating apps for years. The mahogany conference table is surrounded by executives who spend their days managing brands that cost more to advertise than most startups raise in funding rounds, and they're trying to understand how you built a billion-dollar company with a $4,500 video and a sense of humour about bathroom maintenance. The Unilever team presents their acquisition proposal with the careful politeness of people offering to buy something they don't entirely understand but desperately need. We see Dollar Shave Club as a strategic asset in our portfolio diversification toward digital native brands, their corporate development director explains, using language that makes customer relationships sound like stock portfolios. You nod and smile while mentally translating. We're terrified that all our customers are switching to companies like yours, so we'd like to buy you before you make us completely irrelevant. Listen to the soft rustle of non-disclosure agreements being signed with Montblanc pens that cost more than your first month's inventory. The due diligence process feels like undergoing surgery performed by accountants. Every aspect of your business gets examined, measured, and evaluated by people who understand spreadsheets better than they understand why customers might prefer buying razors online instead of from locked display cases in CVS. The cultural differences become obvious immediately. Unilever's team discusses brand synergies and cross-platform integration opportunities, while you're thinking about how to maintain the irreverent customer-first culture that made Dollar Shave Club successful. They present org charts that look like family trees for European royalty, while your company still makes decisions in meetings where everyone can fit around a single table and actually use the products they're discussing. The financial negotiations feel like haggling over the price of something that doesn't exist yet. They're essentially buying your customer relationships. Your brand personality and your ability to make razor purchases feel like joining a community rather than completing a transaction. The proposed $1 billion acquisition price represents more money than you ever imagined when you were making videos in your warehouse, but it also represents the end of Dollar Shave Club as an independent disruptor. Your legal team explains the acquisition structure with the enthusiasm of people describing how to perform complex surgery using kitchen utensils. There are earnouts based on subscriber growth, retention of key personnel, integration timelines, and enough contingencies to make you wonder if you're selling a company or entering into a diplomatic treaty with a small nation. The contract is longer than most novels and significantly more boring. But the most surreal aspect is that Unilever executives keep emphasizing how much they want to preserve Dollar Shave Club's authentic voice and disruptive culture, apparently unaware that authentic voices and disruptive cultures are exactly what gets lost when startups get absorbed into companies with more middle managers than your entire employee count. They're essentially promising to buy your rebellion and keep it rebellious. The acquisition meetings feel like speed dating for corporations. Procter & Gamble wants to understand your customer acquisition costs. Johnson & Johnson is interested in your subscription technology. And everyone wants to know if your success can be replicated for deodorant, toothpaste, and other bathroom necessities. Congratulations, you've become so successful at disrupting one industry that everyone wants to pay you to help them disrupt themselves. The irony is perfect. The companies that created the overpriced, overcomplicated razor market are now competing to acquire the company that succeeded by pointing out how overpriced and overcomplicated their market had become. You're Michael Dubin, and it's July 2016. You're standing in Unilever's boardroom holding a pen that's about to sign away the scrappy startup that began with your frustration at CVS razor prices. The acquisition agreement represents $1 billion in validation that your simple idea, sell decent razors at fair prices without the retail theatre, was worth more than most Fortune 500 companies' annual revenues. The number feels abstract, like trying to comprehend the distance to Mars, or the number of particles in a grain of sand. The signing ceremony feels simultaneously momentous and anticlimactic, like graduating from college or getting married. A life-changing moment that consists mainly of sitting at a table and writing your name on papers you hope you understood correctly. The Unilever executives treat the moment with the solemnity of people purchasing a national landmark. While you're trying to process that your bathroom humour video has just generated more wealth than most countries' GDP, listen to the gentle scratch of expensive pens signing documents that will reshape the personal care industry. The legal papers represent more than a corporate acquisition. They're essentially a peace treaty ending the war between traditional razor companies and their increasingly frustrated customers. Unilever isn't just buying Dollar Shave Club, they're buying proof that customer-first business models can defeat century-old monopolies. The press release gets distributed with the kind of corporate fanfare usually reserved for announcing new pharmaceutical breakthroughs or space missions. Unilever acquires Dollar Shave Club for $1 billion in cash, becomes headline news on financial networks, business publications, and technology blogs. The acquisition is analysed by experts who explain how a company that started with a viral video managed to generate a return on investment that would make cryptocurrency speculators jealous. Your employees gather in the warehouse-turned-headquarters for the announcement, and the mood feels like a high school graduation, celebratory but tinged with uncertainty about what comes next. These are the people who helped build a company culture where customer service emails got written with the same irreverent humour as your marketing videos, where shipping packages included handwritten notes, and where everyone actually used the products they were selling. The acquisition means financial security, but it also means becoming part of a multinational corporation with more bureaucracy than your entire company has employees. The customer reaction is mixed, like learning that your favourite local restaurant just got bought by McDonald's. Loyal subscribers express concern about whether Dollar Shave Club will maintain its personality after becoming a Unilever subsidiary, while new customers wonder if the acquisition validates their decision to switch from Gillette or signals the end of the startup authenticity that attracted them in the first place. The competitive implications ripple through the entire consumer goods industry, like aftershocks from a financial earthquake. Every major brand with recurring purchase products suddenly needs a direct-to-consumer strategy, a subscription option, and executives who understand why customers might prefer buying online, instead of from retail stores that treat basic necessities like controlled substances. Congratulations. You've just proved that sometimes the most valuable thing you can build isn't a better product, but a better relationship with customers who are tired of being treated like walking wallets by companies that forgot they were supposed to be solving problems rather than creating them. The $1 billion acquisition price represents the cost of ignoring your customers for too long. You're Michael Dubin, 6 months after the acquisition, and you're sitting in your first Unilever quarterly planning meeting. The conference room is larger than your original warehouse, filled with executives who manage brands you've seen in grocery stores your entire life, but never imagined you'd be colleagues with. The agenda includes items like Q4 SKU optimization across European markets and brand portfolio synergy initiatives, which sounds like someone fed corporate buzzwords into a random phrase generator and hit print. The cultural integration feels like trying to teach an elephant to skateboard, theoretically possible but awkward for everyone involved. Your team of former startup rebels now attends meetings about compliance frameworks and regional marketing approval processes, with people who've never had to personally pack shipping boxes or answer customer service emails. The same irreverent energy that made Dollar Shave Club successful gets filtered through legal reviews, brand guidelines, and the kind of risk management protocols designed to prevent anything unexpected from ever happening. Listen to the soft hum of Unilever's enterprise software systems processing data that will be analysed by teams of people you'll never meet. Your customer emails, which used to be written with the same casual humour as text messages to friends, now get reviewed by brand managers who worry about whether jokes might create liability exposure or misaligned messaging with corporate values. The spontaneity that built your brand is being replaced by the kind of strategic communication planning that turns personality into policy. Your original employees adapt to corporate life with varying degrees of success, like wild animals learning to live in a zoo. Some embrace the resources and stability that come with being part of a multinational corporation. Better health insurance, 401k matching, and the kind of career development opportunities that don't exist at startups where everyone wears multiple hats. Others miss the days when you could change your website copy in 5 minutes instead of submitting requests through approval workflows that involve more people than your original company employed. The subscription technology that was once your competitive advantage becomes part of Unilever's broader digital transformation initiative, analysed by consultants who charge more per hour than your original employees made per month. Your simple, effective customer acquisition strategy gets expanded into a multi-channel attribution model, tracked by analytics platforms that generate reports longer than your original business plan. The financial resources are simultaneously liberating and constraining. You can afford television advertising, celebrity endorsements, and the kind of marketing campaigns that require approval from teams in multiple countries. But every decision involves stakeholders who measure success in metrics you never tracked when customer satisfaction was the only KPI that mattered. The agility that let you respond to customer feedback in real time gets replaced by quarterly planning cycles and annual budget approvals. Your original vision of disrupting the razor industry with humour and fair pricing survives, but it's now part of Unilever's purpose-driven brand strategy and customer-centric innovation framework. The revolution has been institutionalized, documented in PowerPoint presentations, and managed by people who understand market segmentation better than they understand why customers might laugh at videos about bathroom maintenance. Congratulations. You've successfully sold your startup to a corporation that's trying very hard not to kill the thing they paid $1 billion to acquire, which is harder than it sounds when authenticity becomes a corporate initiative managed by committees. You're browsing the updated Dollar Shave Club website 18 months after the Unilever acquisition, and it feels like visiting your childhood home after it's been renovated by people with expensive taste, but no understanding of why you loved it in the first place. The irreverent humour is still there, but it's been focus grouped, A/B tested, and approved by brand managers who ensure every joke aligns with Unilever's global marketing guidelines. The authenticity remains, but it's now authenticity strategy, implemented by people who've never personally experienced the frustration of buying overpriced razors. The product line has expanded with the efficiency of a corporation that's discovered a successful formula and wants to apply it to everything. Dollar Shave Club now offers skincare products, hairstyling supplies, and bathroom accessories with the same subscription convenience and humorous marketing. But the expansion feels calculated rather than organic. It's like watching your favourite indie band sign with a major label. The music is professionally produced and widely distributed, but something ineffable has been lost in translation. Listen to the gentle notification sounds of mobile app updates that add features your customers never requested. The subscription experience has been enhanced with personalization algorithms, predictive shipping, and integration with Unilever's customer data platforms. The technology is sophisticated and effective, but it's also complex in ways that would have horrified your original team, who believed that buying razors should be simpler than filing taxes. Your customer base has grown exponentially under Unilever's ownership, reaching demographics and geographic markets that were impossible when you were shipping boxes from a converted warehouse. The brand recognition has expanded beyond millennial men who discovered you through viral videos to include customers who learned about Dollar Shave Club through traditional advertising channels, retail partnerships, and the kind of marketing budgets that require approval from people in multiple time zones. The competitive landscape has evolved in response to your success, with every major consumer goods company launching subscription services that promise convenience, value, and customer-centric experiences. Gillette now offers subscription razors, Target has a subscription, Everything Program, and even Walmart has embraced direct-to-consumer delivery. Your innovation has become industry standard, which is simultaneously validating and concerning. When everyone copies your disruption, it stops being disruptive. The original Dollar Shave Club video, which launched your company with $4,500 and a borrowed camera, now exists as historical artifact in Unilever's brand heritage collection. New marketing campaigns reference the viral origin story while being produced by teams of people who create content with budgets larger than your entire original company valuation. The scrappy startup narrative has become corporate mythology, preserved and celebrated by the same kind of company structure you originally succeeded by avoiding. Your role has evolved from startup founder to brand ambassador within a multinational corporation, which means spending time in meetings about brand equity protection and global market penetration strategies instead of personally reading customer emails and responding to complaints. The direct connection with customers that drove your original innovation gets mediated through market research, focus groups, and consumer insight teams who translate customer feedback into actionable business intelligence. The acquisition metrics suggest success: increased subscriber counts, expanded market share, improved profit margins, and the kind of operational efficiency that comes from being part of a company with decades of consumer goods experience. But but success measured in spreadsheets doesn't capture the intangible qualities that made Dollar Shave Club disruptive in the first place. Congratulations! You've discovered that selling your company to preserve its mission is like giving your rebellious teenager to boarding school to keep them from conforming. You're watching a Harvard Business School case study presentation about Dollar Shave Club, and the professor is explaining your company to MBA students with the analytical precision of someone dissecting a frog to understand how it learned to jump. The acquisition has become required reading in entrepreneurship courses, disruption theory seminars, and marketing strategy programs where future executives learn how a viral video and subscription model can defeat century-old monopolies. Your bathroom humor has been academically validated by people who charge $200,000 per year to teach other people how to think about business. The subscription economy that you helped pioneer has exploded across every industry that involves recurring purchases, repeat customers, or products that people need regularly but hate shopping for. Dollar Shave Club's success spawned imitators in pet food, vitamins, coffee, socks, underwear, and subscription boxes for products that nobody knew they needed until someone offered to deliver them monthly. You've accidentally created an entire business model that's been applied to everything from meal kits to contact lenses. Listen to the gentle ding of notification emails announcing new subscription services launching every week. The direct-to-consumer revolution that began with your frustration at drugstore razor prices has fundamentally changed how companies think about customer relationships, retail distribution, and brand building. Traditional manufacturers who spent decades selling through wholesalers and retailers are scrambling to build direct relationships with customers who've grown accustomed to subscription convenience and startup-style customer service. The venture capital industry has embraced subscription commerce as a fundable category, with investors evaluating startups based on monthly recurring revenue, customer lifetime value, and churn rates rather than traditional retail metrics. Your success proved that customers will pay for convenience, authenticity, and fair pricing even when they're already familiar with established alternatives. Congratulations! You've created a new way for entrepreneurs to pitch investors and a new way for investors to evaluate businesses. The advertising industry has been transformed by your demonstration that authentic, humorous, low-budget content can outperform polished, expensive traditional campaigns. Marketing agencies now offer viral video strategy as a service, and corporate communications teams study your original video to understand how authenticity translates to customer acquisition. The $4,500 production budget that seemed embarrassingly small when you made it has become a benchmark for efficient content creation. The retail landscape has been permanently altered by the success of companies that bypass traditional distribution channels and sell directly to customers. Drugstores still have locked razor displays, but they also offer subscription services and price matching guarantees that acknowledge the competitive pressure from direct consumer brands. Even Walmart and Target have subscription programs that promise the convenience and value proposition you pioneered. Your influence extends beyond business strategy into corporate culture and customer service philosophy. Companies across industries now emphasize customer obsession, authentic brand voice, and community building, with the religious fervor of people who've read case studies about startups that succeeded by actually caring about their customers. The irreverent conversational tone that made Dollar Shave Club distinctive has been adopted by brands selling everything from accounting software to funeral services. The personal care industry specifically has been revolutionized by your proof that customers were ready for alternatives to the traditional retail experience. Subscription shaving companies now compete on convenience, price, and brand personality, rather than blade technology and celebrity endorsements. The locked razor displays that inspired your original frustration still exist, but they're surrounded by QR codes that let customers order subscriptions from their phones while standing in the aisle. You've become an inadvertent prophet of customer-first business philosophy, and your congregation includes entrepreneurs, executives, and MBA students who've never experienced the specific frustration of buying overpriced razors, but understand the universal appeal of companies that treat customers like human beings instead of walking wallets. You're sitting in a Starbucks in 2024, watching a teenager order a subscription coffee service through an app, while their parents discuss their meal kit delivery and vitamin subscription plans. The casual acceptance of subscription. Everything would have seemed like science fiction when you first uploaded your Dollar Shave Club video, but now it's as normal as online shopping or smartphone payments. Your $4,500 warehouse video has become the origin story for an entire economic model that generates hundreds of billions in annual revenue across thousands of companies. The boardrooms of Fortune 500 companies have been permanently changed by your demonstration that authentic communication and fair pricing can defeat marketing budgets larger than most countries' defense spending. CEOs who once relied exclusively on focus groups and market research now record personal videos explaining company decisions, addressing customer complaints, and attempting to recreate the authentic voice that made your original video successful. Corporate authenticity has become an industry, managed by consultants who charge corporations millions to help them seem as genuine as a startup founder complaining about razor prices. Listen to the gentle buzz of smartphone notifications announcing subscription deliveries, service updates, and loyalty program benefits. The customer experience you pioneered, transparent pricing, convenient delivery, humorous communication, and actual customer service, has become the baseline expectation for any company that wants to compete for customers who've grown accustomed to being treated like human beings rather than revenue streams. The venture capital industry has been reshaped by your proof that direct-to-consumer businesses can scale rapidly and defeat established competitors through superior customer relationships rather than superior products. Subscription commerce and DTC have become investment categories with dedicated funds, specialized accelerators, and valuation metrics that didn't exist before you proved that monthly recurring revenue could be more valuable than traditional retail partnerships. Your success created an entire ecosystem of entrepreneurs, investors, and service providers who understand that customer obsession isn't just good philosophy, it's good business. The advertising industry has been forced to evolve beyond the traditional model of expensive, polished campaigns designed to interrupt customers into paying attention. Your viral video demonstrated that customers will voluntarily watch, share, and discuss content that entertains them while solving their problems, which created demand for authentic content marketing, brand storytelling, and community-driven advertising strategies that attempt to replicate your organic success through systematic planning and considerable budgets. The retail industry has been permanently disrupted by companies that learned from your example that customers prefer convenience, fair pricing, and direct relationships over traditional shopping experiences that involve locked display cases, pushy salespeople, and markup-heavy distribution chains. Traditional retailers now offer subscription services, direct-to-consumer options, and customer experiences designed to compete with the convenience and value proposition you established as the new standard. Your influence extends beyond business strategy into organizational culture and corporate philosophy. Companies across industries now emphasize customer-first thinking, founder-led authenticity, and disruptive innovation, with the dedication of people who've studied case studies about startups that succeeded by actually caring about solving customer problems rather than maximizing profit margins. The irreverent problem-solving culture that made Dollar Shave Club successful has been institutionalized in corporate training programs, management seminars, and business school curricula. The personal care industry specifically has been transformed into a competitive landscape where subscription services, direct-to-consumer brands, and customer-obsessed companies compete on convenience, value, and brand personality rather than just product features and retail placement. The monopolistic practices that inspired your original frustration have been replaced by competitive markets where companies have to earn customer loyalty through superior service rather than simply controlling distribution channels. Congratulations, you've accidentally become one of the most influential business leaders of the digital era, and your influence is measured not in the size of your company, but in the number of companies that change their entire approach to customer relationships because of your example. You're scrolling through your phone's subscription management settings, and the list reads like a comprehensive inventory of modern life. Streaming services, food delivery, fitness apps, productivity software, beauty products, pet supplies, coffee, razors, contact lenses, books, music, news, cloud storage, and subscription boxes for products you didn't know existed until algorithm-powered recommendations suggested them. The subscription economy that emerged from your frustration with overpriced drugstore razors now generates over $650 billion annually and touches virtually every aspect of consumer behavior. The psychological shift you initiated goes far beyond convenient delivery. You've fundamentally changed how people think about ownership, consumption, and the relationship between companies and customers. The traditional model of buying products and hoping they work has been replaced by ongoing relationships, where companies have to continuously earn customer loyalty through consistent value delivery, responsive service, and transparent communication. Your original insight that customers prefer predictable, fair pricing has evolved into a comprehensive business philosophy that prioritizes customer lifetime value over transaction maximization. Listen to the gentle ping of subscription renewal notifications that remind customers they're part of ongoing relationships rather than isolated transactions. The monthly billing cycles that seemed revolutionary when you applied them to razors have become the standard payment model for everything from enterprise software to meditation apps, creating predictable revenue streams that allow companies to invest in long-term customer satisfaction rather than short-term sales optimization. The customer service revolution you sparked has elevated support from an afterthought to a competitive advantage, with companies competing on response times, resolution quality, and the personality of their customer interactions. The conversational, helpful tone that made Dollar Shave Club's emails feel like correspondence from friends has been adopted by brands across industries, transforming customer service from a cost center focused on minimizing interaction to a profit center focused on maximizing satisfaction. The data revolution enabled by subscription relationships has created unprecedented insight into customer behavior, preferences, and life cycle patterns that allow companies to personalize experiences, predict needs, and prevent problems before customers experience them. The recurring billing that started as a convenience feature has evolved into sophisticated customer intelligence platforms that understand individual preferences better than traditional retail could understand broad market segments. The competitive landscape has been permanently altered by your demonstration that customer acquisition through authentic content and superior value proposition can defeat established competitors with larger budgets, longer market presence, and more sophisticated distribution networks. Traditional advantages like brand recognition, retail partnerships, and advertising spend have been neutralized by direct-to-consumer companies that compete on customer experience, transparent pricing, and genuine problem-solving. The entrepreneurial ecosystem has been transformed by the subscription model's predictable revenue characteristics, which make startups more attractive to investors, easier to scale, and more sustainable than traditional businesses dependent on unpredictable transaction volumes. The monthly recurring revenue metrics you helped establish have become the gold standard for evaluating growth companies, creating an entire vocabulary of business analysis focused on customer retention, churn, prevention, and lifetime value optimization. The supply chain implications of subscription commerce have revolutionized manufacturing, inventory management, and logistics planning by providing companies with demand predictability that enables more efficient production scheduling, reduced waste, and optimized distribution strategies. The regular delivery schedules that seem like a simple convenience feature have created economies of scale that benefit both companies and customers through reduced costs and improved sustainability. Your legacy extends beyond business transformation into cultural change. You've helped create a generation of consumers who expect companies to earn their loyalty through consistent value delivery rather than demanding it through marketing manipulation or monopolistic practices. The subscription relationships that began with your razor delivery service have become the foundation for a more customer-centric economy, where companies succeed by solving problems rather than creating them. Congratulations! You've built an economic model that's more sustainable, more customer-friendly, and more efficient than the transaction-based commerce it's replacing, and your contribution is measured in the improved daily experiences of millions of people who no longer have to negotiate with locked display cases to maintain basic personal hygiene. You're attending a Startup Accelerator demo day, and every third company begins their pitch with some variation of "We're the Dollar Shave Club" of, followed by whatever industry they're trying to disrupt with subscription convenience, authentic marketing, and customer-first pricing. The formula you accidentally created: identify a product category where customers are frustrated with traditional shopping experiences, offer subscription delivery at fair prices, and communicate with personality instead of corporate speak, has become the most replicated business strategy of the digital era. The beauty industry has been transformed by companies like Glossier and Birchbox that learned from your example that customers prefer authentic recommendations from real people over celebrity endorsements and department store sales tactics. These brands use conversational social media, transparent ingredient lists and subscription models to build customer relationships that feel more like community membership than commercial transactions. The locked cosmetics displays and pushy department store salespeople that once dominated beauty retail have been replaced by direct-to-consumer brands that ship products to customers who never have to endure mall shopping again. Listen to the gentle notification sounds of shipping confirmations for pet food, coffee beans, and meal kits delivered by companies that studied your customer acquisition strategy. The convenience economy you pioneered has expanded to include subscription services for groceries, prepared meals, pet supplies, books, wine, contact lenses, vitamins and subscription boxes that deliver curated selections of products customers didn't know they wanted until algorithms suggested them. The software industry has been revolutionized by your demonstration that monthly recurring revenue models create better customer relationships than one-time purchase transactions. Companies like Spotify, Netflix, and Adobe have transformed their entire business models from product sales to subscription services, creating ongoing relationships that allow them to continuously improve their offerings, rather than periodically launching new versions that customers have to purchase separately. The subscription model that seemed radical when applied to razors has become the standard business model for digital services. The food and beverage industry has embraced your direct-to-consumer approach through companies like Blue Apron, HelloFresh, and specialty coffee roasters that ship freshly roasted beans to customers who prefer subscription convenience over grocery store selection. These companies use your playbook of transparent pricing, personality-driven marketing, and customer service that treats subscribers like members of a community rather than anonymous transaction sources. The fitness industry has been transformed by subscription-based apps, equipment rentals, and virtual training services that learn from your example that customers will pay for convenience, personalization, and ongoing support rather than just one-time product purchases. Companies like Peloton, Mirror, and various fitness apps have created recurring revenue models that align company success with customer results rather than just initial equipment sales. The fashion industry has been disrupted by subscription styling services, direct-to-consumer apparel brands, and rental services that apply your customer-first philosophy to an industry traditionally dominated by seasonal collections, markup-heavy retail, and shopping experiences designed more for retailers than customers. These companies use subscription models to create predictable revenue, while offering customers more convenient, personalized, and affordable access to clothing and accessories. The personal finance industry has embraced subscription models for budgeting apps, investment platforms, and financial planning services that learn from your success that customers prefer transparent, predictable pricing over hidden fees and complicated fee structures. These companies use your authentic communication style to explain financial concepts in plain language, rather than the intimidating jargon that traditional financial services companies use to obscure their value proposition. The implications extend beyond individual companies to entire economic sectors that have been restructured around subscription relationships, direct-to-consumer distribution, and customer experience optimization, rather than traditional retail models based on wholesale distribution, markup maximization, and customer acquisition through advertising interruption rather than value delivery. Congratulations! You've created a business model template that's been successfully applied to virtually every industry where customers make repeat purchases, creating a more efficient, customer-friendly economy where companies succeed by solving problems rather than exploiting information asymmetries or distribution monopolies. You're standing in line at a traditional retail store in 2024, watching a customer argue with a manager about return policies, shipping fees, and why they can't just have their product delivered tomorrow like every other company offers. The frustrated customer represents millions of people who've been permanently changed by your demonstration that commerce doesn't have to be adversarial, complicated, or designed primarily for the convenience of companies rather than customers. The subscription economy you helped create has raised baseline expectations for convenience, transparency, and customer service to levels that make traditional retail experiences feel antiquated and unnecessarily difficult. The psychological transformation extends far beyond razors or even subscription services. You've helped create a generation of consumers who expect companies to earn their business through value delivery, rather than demanding it through marketing manipulation, artificial scarcity, or monopolistic practices. The transparent pricing that seemed revolutionary when applied to razor cartridges has become the expected standard for everything from software subscriptions to restaurant menus, forcing companies across industries to justify their costs rather than simply imposing them through market power. Listen to the gentle confidence in voices of customers who now expect to be treated like partners in ongoing relationships rather than targets for one-time transactions. The customer service revolution you sparked has elevated support interactions from necessary evils to competitive advantages, with companies competing on response times, problem resolution quality, and the personality of their customer communications rather than simply trying to minimize service costs through automation and deflection. The convenience expectations you established have fundamentally altered how people think about their time, attention, and willingness to tolerate friction in commercial relationships. Customers who experience the seamless subscription experience you pioneered now consider waiting in line, dealing with inventory shortages, or navigating complicated return processes to be unacceptable inconveniences rather than normal aspects of shopping. The bar for customer experience has been permanently raised to levels that require companies to redesign their operations around customer convenience rather than operational efficiency. The authenticity standards you demonstrated through personality-driven marketing have made customers more skeptical of traditional advertising approaches that rely on celebrity endorsements, manufactured urgency, or emotional manipulation rather than honest problem-solving and transparent value propositions. Modern consumers can distinguish between authentic brand personality and corporate manufactured authenticity with the precision of people who've been trained to recognize the difference between genuine relationships and performative interactions. The community expectations you created by treating customers like members rather than revenue sources have transformed how people think about brand loyalty, customer relationships, and the role of companies in their daily lives. Customers now expect companies to provide ongoing value, respond to feedback, and maintain relationships that benefit both parties rather than simply extracting maximum profit from individual transactions through pricing optimization and upselling tactics. The pricing transparency you introduced has made customers more sophisticated about understanding true costs, markup structures, and value propositions across industries, creating market pressure for honest pricing rather than complex fee structures designed to obscure actual costs through bundling, hidden charges, and confusing billing practices. The direct, honest pricing that made Dollar Shave Club attractive has become a competitive requirement rather than a differentiating advantage. The direct relationship model you pioneered has shifted customer expectations from accepting whatever products and services companies choose to offer through traditional distribution channels to demanding personalized experiences, direct communication, and companies that respond to individual needs rather than broad market segments defined by demographic categories and purchase history analysis. Your influence has created customers who vote with their wallets for companies that prioritize customer success over short-term profit maximization, authentic communication over manipulative marketing, and long-term relationship building over transaction optimization, fundamentally altering the power dynamic between companies and customers in favor of people who now have alternatives to traditional commerce experiences that prioritize convenience, fairness, and genuine problem-solving. Congratulations, you've helped create a more customer-friendly economy where companies have to compete on actual value delivery rather than just marketing effectiveness, distribution control, or artificial barriers to competition. You're sitting in a modern corporate boardroom where executives analyze customer acquisition costs, discuss authentic brand voice strategies, and debate subscription model implementation with the reverence of people studying religious texts. The whiteboard displays metrics like customer lifetime value, monthly recurring revenue, and net promoter scores, business vocabulary that either didn't exist or wasn't prioritized before your viral video proved that customer satisfaction could be more valuable than traditional marketing spending. Your accidental business philosophy has been institutionalized into corporate strategy frameworks, taught at business schools, and implemented by companies whose annual revenues exceed the GDP of small nations. The customer-first philosophy you demonstrated through necessity rather than strategy has become the official doctrine of corporations that spend millions on consultants, to help them understand concepts you learned through personal frustration with locked razor displays. Management teams now hire chief customer officers, invest in customer experience platforms, and organize entire departments around customer success. With the dedication of people who've discovered that treating customers well is surprisingly profitable when your competitors don't. Listen to the earnest discussions of executives who analyze your original video frame by frame to understand how authenticity translates to customer acquisition and retention. The conversational problem-solving communication style that made your marketing feel like helpful advice from friends has been studied, systematized, and implemented by corporate communications teams who create brand voice guidelines and authentic messaging frameworks designed to replicate organic authenticity through strategic planning and careful execution. The direct-to-consumer strategy you pioneered has become required learning for executives who previously assumed that retail partnerships and traditional distribution channels were permanent competitive advantages rather than potentially obsolete middlemen between companies and customers. Business schools now teach courses on disintermediation, DTC strategy, and subscription commerce to future executives who study your success as proof that controlling customer relationships can be more valuable than controlling retail shelf space. The pricing transparency you introduced has forced corporate finance teams to justify markup structures, eliminate hidden fees, and communicate value propositions in plain language rather than relying on complex pricing models designed to obscure actual costs through bundling strategies, tiered service levels, and the kind of mathematical obfuscation that requires calculators and customer service calls to understand. Your honest pricing has become a competitive benchmark that forces companies to offer genuine value rather than just superior marketing. The viral marketing lessons learned from your $4,500 video have created entire industries of content strategists, viral marketing consultants, and social media agencies who attempt to engineer organic shareability through systematic analysis of humor, timing, authenticity, and audience psychology. Corporate marketing budgets now include line items for viral video production and authentic content creation, managed by teams who study your success to understand how spontaneous creativity can be institutionalized without destroying the spontaneity that made it effective. The operational efficiency lessons from your subscription model have been applied to supply chain management, inventory planning, and customer service optimization by companies that learned from your example that predictable recurring revenue enables better long-term planning, reduced waste, and more sustainable business practices than transaction-based models dependent on unpredictable market fluctuations and seasonal purchasing patterns. The organizational culture lessons from your startup's customer obsession have been implemented through corporate culture initiatives, employee training programs, and management philosophies that attempt to maintain entrepreneurial agility and customer focus within large organizations that traditionally prioritize process efficiency, risk management, and stakeholder coordination over rapid customer response and authentic relationship building. The competitive strategy lessons from your disruption of a century-old monopoly have become case studies in business school courses on innovation, market disruption, and competitive advantage that teach future executives how small companies can defeat established competitors through superior customer relationships rather than superior resources, longer market presence, or more sophisticated operations. Your legacy lives in the boardroom conversations where executives debate how to maintain customer focus while scaling operations, preserve authentic brand voice while expanding globally, and sustain innovation while managing shareholder expectations, the fundamental tensions of modern corporate management that you navigated successfully by prioritizing customer satisfaction over conventional business wisdom. Congratulations, you've influenced how corporations think about customer relationships, authentic communication, and sustainable competitive advantage in ways that benefit millions of customers who now receive better service because companies learned from your example that customer obsession isn't just good philosophy, it's the most profitable long-term strategy. You're watching your 8-year-old nephew order art supplies through a tablet while explaining that everything comes to your house now because that's easier for people. His casual assumption that products should be delivered conveniently, priced fairly, and accompanied by helpful customer service represents a generational shift in expectations that began with your frustration at CVS razor prices. The subscription economy, direct-to-consumer commerce, and customer-first business philosophy you helped establish aren't revolutionary anymore. They're simply how commerce works for people who've never experienced the artificial scarcity, markup-heavy distribution, and adversarial customer relationships that dominated retail before your viral video. The future business landscape is being built by entrepreneurs who studied your success and learned that sustainable competitive advantages come from superior customer relationships rather than proprietary technology, regulatory protection, or distribution monopolies. Tomorrow's successful companies will succeed by solving real problems for actual people rather than by optimizing profit extraction through information asymmetries, switching costs, or market manipulation tactics that worked when customers had fewer alternatives and less information about their options. Listen to the gentle hum of autonomous delivery vehicles, drone shipments, and logistics networks optimized for customer convenience rather than operational efficiency. The infrastructure being built to support subscription commerce, direct-to-consumer delivery, and on-demand everything reflects your influence on how society thinks about the relationship between companies and customers. Businesses exist to serve people, not the other way around. The technological developments emerging from subscription commerce, predictive analytics, personalized experiences, and customer success platforms represent evolution from transaction-focused systems designed to maximize individual sales to relationship-focused systems designed to maximize customer lifetime satisfaction and long-term value creation. The data collection that seems invasive when used for advertising manipulation becomes valuable when used to anticipate customer needs, prevent problems, and deliver personalized solutions. The economic implications of your subscription model extend beyond individual companies to fundamental changes in how markets function, how competition works, and how innovation happens in a world where customer switching costs are low, information is transparent, and companies have to continuously earn customer loyalty rather than simply acquiring it through marketing effectiveness or distribution control. The subscription economy creates more dynamic, customer-responsive markets where companies succeed through ongoing value delivery rather than one-time customer acquisition. The environmental benefits of subscription commerce, reduced packaging waste, optimized delivery routes, and demand predictable manufacturing, represent your unintended contribution to sustainability through business models that align company success with resource efficiency, rather than planned obsolescence, overproduction, and disposal-focused consumption patterns that generate profit through waste creation rather than value delivery. The global implications of your direct-to-consumer approach enable smaller companies to compete internationally without traditional barriers like retail distribution networks, regulatory compliance expertise, or geographic market presence, creating opportunities for entrepreneurs worldwide to build businesses that serve customers directly rather than navigating complex distribution hierarchies controlled by established players with incumbent advantages. The democratization of entrepreneurship enabled by subscription models, social media marketing, and direct customer relationships means that future business success will be more dependent on authentic problem-solving and customer satisfaction than on access to capital, regulatory advantages, or existing business relationships, creating a more meritocratic economy where good ideas and customer focus can defeat established companies with superior resources but inferior customer experiences. The cultural shift toward authentic communication, transparent pricing, and customer-first business philosophy represents your contribution to a more honest commercial environment where companies compete on actual value delivery rather than marketing manipulation, artificial scarcity, or psychological tricks designed to exploit customer decision-making biases for profit maximization rather than problem-solving. Your legacy isn't just the subscription economy or direct-to-consumer commerce. It's the proof that treating customers like human beings rather than revenue sources creates more sustainable, profitable, and socially beneficial businesses than traditional approaches focused on maximizing short-term profit extraction through whatever tactics generate immediate revenue, regardless of long-term customer satisfaction or relationship quality. The future you made possible is one where commerce serves people rather than exploiting them, where companies succeed by solving problems rather than creating them, and where customer relationships are based on mutual benefit rather than information asymmetry and switching costs designed to trap customers in unsatisfying commercial relationships. Congratulations! You've helped create a world where your nephew assumes that companies should make his life easier rather than more complicated, more convenient rather than more frustrating, and more transparent rather than more confusing. That assumption will shape how he thinks about business, customer relationships, and the role of commerce in society for his entire life. Would you switch from traditional retail to subscription commerce if it meant better prices and convenience? Or do you prefer the traditional shopping experience? Let me know in the comments below.